What if you already know everything? What if you have all the knowing you need to make that decision, to choose, to find back home to yourself, to live the life that feels like the life for you? What if you already know everything you need to know? So there's not more work to do. There's not more learning to do. You just need to remember what you know. Play along with this for a second. If you have this inner drive, this part of you that tells you that something about you or your life is not finished, it's not complete, you have to keep working on something to figure something out, to find yourself, or to get to know what's the next natural step for you. We keep working on ourselves, and we keep working on ourselves. And maybe I'm just realizing that maybe we are misunderstanding our own signals. What I'm thinking is this. If there is this part of you that knows you are not complete in whatever you are having questions about right now, that must only mean that you already know what's missing. You must already know what's missing in your life or in yourself if you know that you are not there yet. Because how else would we know that there's something missing if we didn't already have a knowledge of what is missing? How can we know that something is missing? It's like when we're in school and we have a test. So we sit there and we write down everything we remember from what we have already learned. So from what we know, we put down all the things we can remember about that subject, about that thing we know. Now, if we don't turn in that test immediately, it's because we know that we don't remember everything yet. There is more to remember. I know more. So let me remember and get it down on paper. And when I don't have that feeling of knowing that there's something I'm not remembering, that is when I decide I'm done with the test and I turn it in. Only because I know that I know something I'm not remembering, right? If I didn't have the already knowledge about this subject that I'm being tested in, how would I know that I'm not finished? We cannot know that something is missing unless we know what that missing thing is. We are just not remembering the missing thing, but we get the signal that we know something is missing. What we then do is we remember what we know, but not in life. Not in life. We keep working to gain more knowledge, to learn more, to solve this void, this thing that we feel is missing. I must analyze this further. I need to gain more knowledge. I need to keep working on myself to know what's good for me, to know what I want, to know where I'm supposed to go. And I just keep getting this image in my head of being in a dark room and wanting there to be light. And it's like we just stand in this dark room and we start gaining knowledge about light, about electricity, even trying to invent the light, when all we have to do is just remember. The light is already invented. There's a switch here. All I have to do is flip the switch and the light returns. But instead of just doing that with what I know, I waste my time. I spend my time analyzing, trying to find more knowledge, trying to learn more about the light. When all I have to do is remember what I already know. The light already exists. I just need to flip the switch. And what is the word enlightenment? Because that is what we all seek. In some sort of way, we want to be enlightened about what feels right for us, about what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to live our lives, in everything. The word enlighten means to put something into the light. That's it. It doesn't mean invent the light. It doesn't mean gain more knowledge and learn more about the light. It merely means bring something into the light that already exists. What if we just need to bring ourselves into the light of what already exists, of what we already know? What if we know everything there is to know, to see all of the puzzles fit together perfectly, but instead of just putting the puzzles together, we start looking for new pieces? Why do we do that? What is happening with this feeling, with this sense of us missing something, of us needing to find ourselves, to find our purpose, to find what we want our lives to look like? What if that feeling of something missing for us to feel complete is just a signal from our soul that there is something we need to remember? And that's it. But our entire system of soul, mind, and body has to work together, has to agree to be aligned for us to consciously create and live the life that we want. All parts of us have to be on the same page. But what if what happens is that the soul gives us the message, there is something I want you to remember in this moment, and then you will know what to do. But our minds doesn't know how to comprehend that, because the workings of the mind is to try and put things into things that we already know, to categorize them, to make sense of them. But I remember reading something that really hit home that says, the soul knows what the mind cannot comprehend. The soul knows, and it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. But then the mind notices this feeling from the soul, and it tries to make sense of it with what the mind already works like. But the mind doesn't have the language to translate messages from the soul, because they can only be felt. They cannot be put into words in the way that our mind wants to. So instead of correctly interpreting this signal from our soul, the mind says, I experience this as some void between where I am and where I'm supposed to be. And I experience this void as some sort of lack. Something is missing. I need more data. I need more information. So let me keep working on this. Let me learn more. Let me gather more data. Let me analyze and think and reflect. But that's not getting us anywhere, because we misinterpret when the soul says, I want you to remember. The mind translates it into, I want you to learn more. The missing piece, which is just to remember, is misunderstood as you need to get to know more. And so we just keep standing next to this light switch, getting to know more about light. How does the light work? What is the best environment for the light? How can I improve the light instead of just turning on the light? So if we played along with that, maybe the soul, maybe we already know everything we need to know to flip the switch. But until now, we have just misinterpreted the signal because we try to translate it with our mind instead of just listening to it. What if we wake up tomorrow and we play along with this? I already know everything there is to know. My soul already know everything I need to know to get where I want to be. Instead of interpreting this void as a lack that needs to be filled with something more, what if we then ask, what is my soul trying to make me remember right now? What is my soul trying to make me remember right now? Because if I know that something is missing, there is a part of me that's telling me I am missing something. That part must also know what's missing. If it didn't know what's missing, I wouldn't have the sense of missing something. How would I know that something is missing if I didn't know what is missing? It's impossible. What is my soul trying to make me remember right now? And just listening to that feeling. And I'm not talking about feeling as emotion, because emotions are also created with the mind. It's a direct reaction or response to the way we think about things. But this is not the workings of the mind. Let's try and look at it like this. Our soul is the part of us that knows, and the part of us that therefore lets us know we're missing something. So the soul points out the direction. And to make the mind and body agree with and align with the soul so that we can get this important information, so that we can remember, if the soul points the direction, the mind must then clear the path. And then the body decides the pace. That's how body, mind, and spirit will work together to make us remember. But up until now, if the soul has been pointing the direction, the mind has not been clearing the path. It has been blocking the path with all of the whys and hows and what ifs and reflections and questions. And then the body has been trying to move in this path that basically leads everywhere and anywhere and nowhere, because there are all these blocks that the body needs to spend its energy either moving around or jumping across. So then after a while, our body is so drained and exhausted, and our mind picks up on that and thinks, this cannot be the path for me, because if this was my true path, it wouldn't feel this exhausting. But what if it was never meant to be exhausting? What if it is the path for us. But instead of the mind clearing the way for that path, it has been putting blocks into it, making it impossible for our body to move towards that or among that. What if we just trust for once? What if we try to trust that this feeling, this sense of something missing, is not a signal for us to learn something. It's a signal for us to just quiet down and remember, to ask ourselves, what is my system trying to remind me of right now that I already know? What is it that I need to remember to find back home to myself? That's why we say to return back home to ourselves. We are not creating someone new. We are just finding the way back to what and who we always were. Because we already know who we are, where we're supposed to be going, what we're supposed to be doing, and how we're supposed to be feeling. But we have just misinterpreted. We have been blinded by this illusion that it's all about learning more, doing more, getting more work done about ourselves, finding out what's the best for us. So maybe we have been shown the path all along. We all have different and several experiences of just getting the feeling that this matters to me, this feels right to me. But we don't stick with it long enough to let it show us that it is actually right for us, because our minds are not clearing the path. Our minds are just putting in more questions, more things to learn. And that is maybe just wasting our time. Maybe we would have arrived back home to ourselves if we just dared to trust that we already know everything we need to know. So what's missing, what is left, is just for us to listen to the soul. What are you trying to make me remember right now? Who knows what the answer will be? Who knows in what way that answer will be given to us? But what I know is, or what I truly now believe is, that my mind's only job in this is to clear the path. Which means for me not to fill it with whys and what ifs and hows and whats. Just trust. Ask, what am I trying to remember? And the soul speaks in feeling, not thought, in feeling. So the whole point is for me then, for us, I think, to get out of our own way by trying to make sense of that feeling with our minds. Trying to figure out what that feeling means instead of just listening to the feeling, instead of just trusting the feeling. I can recall countless times where I've just remembered that I know that this matters to me. This must be my purpose because it feels right. And then after a while, my mind takes over the show and tries to make sense of that feeling. Okay, so this feels right, but what if that's not the right way to do what feels right? What if? And then I get drained by all of the what ifs. And I start second guessing or questioning, was that really the right thing for me? Did that really feel right to me? But I always return to that feeling after a while. But I just keep spending my time trying to analyze that feeling, trying to make sense of that feeling with my mind. And that is why I don't feel complete yet. That is why I don't feel whole yet is because I'm trying to learn more instead of remember more. And when I do remember, I let my mind forget what I remember by asking, by analyzing, by working. And I'm realizing that the reason why this question came to me now is because for the first time in my life, I have allowed myself to take a break from working on myself, to take a break from figuring things out, and to just be with myself, even if it feels boring, because I need to find back to just being with myself without filling every second and every present moment with all of these thoughts and reflections. So I took a break from my mind for a while. And then this question came to me. What if I already know everything I need to know? And I'm pretty sure that question came to me because of the fact that I gave myself a break from my mind. And then my own intelligence and my soul got the space and the clear line it needed to communicate with me directly. And again, I can't answer this question other than with a feeling that it feels right to me. I feel this question. I feel that it makes sense to me. But I'm not supposed to answer it with my mind. And that is why I'm sharing this question with you without giving an answer to it. I just want you to be able to ask yourself that question and see what it feels like for you to ask that question. What if you already know everything you need to know? What if that is why you're exhausted from all of the self-work, all of the new stuff that you keep working on, trying to better yourself, trying to improve yourself, optimize yourself? What if that's why you're tired of that? Because your soul is trying to let you know that you already know everything. There is not more to learn. There is just more to remember. And then what there is to remember is only for you to feel, is only for you to know. Sometimes, oftentimes, it is not people giving me the answers that has the most impact on my life. It's the questions that I make room for, and the feeling I get inside when I ask that question. It's like a part of me just knows, and I don't have to make sense of it. I just have to trust that feeling. I just want to wake up tomorrow and trust that I already know everything I need to know. And then every time a question comes up, or I need to make a decision, or whatever it might be, instead of asking myself what I need to do, I will ask myself, what am I trying to make myself remember right now? If we didn't know what was missing, we wouldn't know that something was missing. Just think about that. Thank you.